Hey, how's it going? We got a lot to do today. Let's get to work. You may notice our horse is a slightly different color. Don't worry about that. You really gotta be careful where you AFK. And remember how that horse didn't even have quite one full bar of hearts? Yeah, well, one exact creeper explosion is enough to kill him even with diamond armor on. The more you know. That's right. This guy's probably the same speed, and I think he actually has a higher jump. We found him over there in the plain somewhere next to these guys, so. New horse already. He lasted one whole episode. We didn't name him or anything, so I guess it's hard to get too attached. But in today's episode, we're focused on getting the iron farm built. We're actually building 2 iron farms. We'll see if we get them both. The farms are going to be integrated into the gate openings for the city or the colony. And yeah, they're just your standard. You have a zombie floating in some soul sand water. You scare some villagers, an iron golem spawns, and some lava kills them. These ones are my own design, but it's similar to something I've built before. It's kind of my own conception. It's based around every iron golem farm you've ever seen where you scare a villager with zombies and, you know, iron golem spawn and you kill them. But I'm actually going to integrate them into the guardhouses. So we'll have to golem proof, I think it's like 20 blocks out from where the villagers are. So we'll have to either do all path blocks or moss carpet and stuff like that. Buttons, bushes, tree leaves I think are not spawnable. So there'll be a decent amount of work around these to make it work. But I think it's going to be cool to have it integrated into the city. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing we have to do though is we need at least 3 villagers in each farm. And we don't have that many villagers nearby unless we took all of the villagers from this town over here. So I think what we're going to do is build a kind of a rudimentary villager breeder right in the side of this mountain. We're already going to start utilizing some of the space. We've got beds, carrots, some soul sand so we can actually transport the babies away from the breeder. That way we can get, because we're going to need a decent little population for this building, plus, you know, the 3 to 5 per iron farm that we're going to need. So we'll build some little chamber underground probably and just start piling up villagers as we build. And hopefully by the time we're done building, we've created enough villagers to stock the farm. So let's start bringing some villagers over. We've got one up here already. I still don't know what he's trying to do up there. We got to be really careful getting him down. And then we'll have to go over to the village and grab one more, but that's not too bad. So let's get to work on that. It's a pretty standard villager breeder. You just put a couple farmers in there. They pick up the carrots, they plant new carrots, and occasionally they throw them back and forth. They try to breed, and when they're successful, the baby runs towards the beds and falls in a hole. And then, you know, he's swept away by the water, so he no longer counts against the total bed count, and the next one comes. But I'll probably explain that better once we build it. Let's get to building. Alright, step 1's complete. Wrangling the initial 2 villagers was a lot more annoying than I thought it was going to be. This guy, who was right on the cliff above where we wanted, absolutely refused to come down. I would get him down in a boat, I would lead him with a crafting table, and he would still make his way back up. And then this other guy, who I had to go to the other village to get, I only saw one of them for a second there, I was a little nervous. And the other guy, wait a minute, why don't these guys have jobs? Can you not place these? Does this break it if I do this? Oops. One of you has to be a farmer. There we go. Okay, don't stack your composters if you're gonna do this farm. So this is what it looks like. It's just kind of you could technically do 1 more block wide and you get a little bit more food, which I guess maybe would increase your rates of food consumption / baby production. But as you can see, they do a fine enough job. Let's close this up so the baby doesn't escape. If they're about to make one, maybe they're just gonna chat. But so they pick the food, they kind of toss the food back and forth to each other, and eventually they multiply. So you put some beds across here. If you're going to try to duplicate this farm, it's important for like the head of the bed to be closer to them, because there's something about like their distance to the bed that matters. So if it's flipped around the other way, the bed is too far and it won't register. And then you just use trapdoors for the typical like mob drop method. So they think there's no floor here. The babies walk in, they fall down into this little water stream, and they shoot over to our little prison. Temporary holding location. And then you have these trapdoors along this top ridge because villagers are tall, so they hit their head and they can't make it into the hole. That's it. That's the whole thing. You block that entrance because if you don't have that totally blocked, if like we just had the trapdoors, their pathing makes them think they can walk through it, and they will just walk into it forever. It's super frustrating. So you see as he picks it, they're kind of like picking him up. So eventually they'll gather enough, and then boom, they'll make another baby. Let's go for a little swim and see how our little production... You know, I can't think of a good way to describe this without it sounding bad. And I'm starting to think maybe there's a reason for that. Anyway, down here, the best way to do these little water drops is 8 blocks, and then you do, well, actually you do 7 blocks and then a drop. So you'd have 1 water source, and it kind of just pushes everything. Instead of putting a water source at every one, which they can like float in, you want to make sure you like step it down so the water falls off the ends. Just the little things you learn. I've also made the mistake in the past of like making holes and putting the torches in the holes, but the babies are short, so they'll actually just climb up into the hole and sit in there. So you don't want that plugging up your system. This is like the one inefficiency. I think you can technically put like ice here and they'll kind of slide into the butterfree stream, but because they're actually like entities that move and do stuff, they'll just walk across it at some point and then boop, they shoot up to the top, and here they are, full-grown adult villagers. We only gotten 2, probably because I had one of those farmers, or rather I had 2 villagers in there and no farmers. It's up and running, they are producing, so they're close enough to the beds, all that stuff's working correctly, and they've got a nice, inconspicuous box. I don't know what else to say about it, it's a stone box. We'll probably do some build that is like maybe we should just make it like a prison, like a holding cell. That's kind of a funny thing to do in a town. Maybe we'll make this the prison in the corner of the colony, and it'll just be like a holding cell, and that's where we'll get all of our villagers from. It's kind of like Skyrim, you always start in the prison. All right, now we're gonna get our materials together. I have everything. I'm just gonna get it all piled up and in boxes and set it out front here. And then we'll start constructing the gates. Pretty excited for these iron farms. I did a little bit of creative pre-planning for this one, which isn't something I do a lot of. But where this one was an iron farm, I wanted to make sure that it actually functioned before I put it in the world. Because if we built the whole thing and then had to change its shape because it wasn't actually producing iron, that would have been a real bummer. So I did kind of a rudimentary blocking out of it and kind of did a facial like decorations on it. And now we're gonna do it again, but for real. Let me get my stuff together and then we'll start building. Okay, just wrapped up building the frame of the iron farm, and time is of the essence because it is about to turn nighttime and I want to catch the zombie, so I don't have to wait another 20 minutes. We got the frame done. I'll talk about the build some after we get through this frantic part, but essentially you put the zombie in some soul sand and you put him floating on some water, and he bounces up and down, and as he bounces up and down, he kind of scares the villagers. So we got the soul sand, our water, and then I think if we can just get him like dirt trapped in here. Can I escape if these are open? Probably if I had my elytron, I could. I'm trying to think of how can I get through here? We're gonna have to just quickly place dirt blocks, I think. It's gonna be the best bet. So we'll jump through. Can we break all 3 of those? It's not ideal. Time is of the essence, as I said, because I don't want to wait another cycle. So soul sand, this will make him kind of bounce. We'll run through, dirt. We'll have to do a little dirt tunnel here. That should work. Oh no, he's gonna get me. Oh no, jump through, and then dirt. Okay. And then we have a name tag so he doesn't despawn. He shall be called Bob. Probably should have put our horse somewhere safer. Here we are. Committed. Don't really want any creepers blowing up everything I just spent the last hour or 2 building. Actually don't know how long that was. It felt like forever. You'll see in the time lapse, but man, I like replaced like 1,000 blocks. Sometimes you're not on, and sometimes you are when you're playing games like this. I don't know how to explain it, but like no matter what I did, I was misplacing and double deleting extra blocks. Ugh. So frustrating, but I'm pretty happy with the end product. You can kind of see the wall design here. The gate in the middle is going to be different obviously than the rest of the wall, so I don't really know what I want to do with that. So I just kind of left this face of the building blank, and then this is what the normal wall that kind of goes around the colony is going to look like, obviously with some variation of vines and bushes and cobblestone and all that, but that's the general concept, right? Oh, here's one. Perfect. I don't think we aggroed anything else. Man, look at the mob spawning. Holy crap. We'll jump on our horse and get out of here so the rest of the stuff despawns before it gives us trouble. But hello, Bob. Oh, probably should have our dirt usable. Placed our water, got our name tag. So this, I'm probably gonna take some damage here, but I just don't see any other way. I need to get this block behind him. All right, got it behind him. Oh, crap. Come get me, you know you want me. Also, we're gonna be able to place our water. Do we have bricks on us? Stone. Okay, that's fine. We can make that work. Just need to place this behind you real quick, Bob. Just like that. Should we place our water just to be extra safe before we waste the name tag? Alright. Bob's bouncing. Bob has a name. Okay. That was a little frantic and not clean. But we've got our zombie. He's named, and I think he's fully protected. I don't think glass or anything like that is an issue. Getting our villagers in here, you know, in hindsight, I should have gotten the zombie and the villagers and stuff all in the building probably before. Oh, we can sleep now. Oh, the zombie's nearby. Duh. God, Bob, you're messing me up. What's going to be the best way to get the... I think the villagers are going to have to come in through the wall. My question is, will I have to like force them in with a zombie in here? Or will they try to sleep in the beds? I think they still try to sleep in the beds even if there's a zombie. So let's go get some villagers from our little villager square. Not prison, not holding cell. Actually, let's ride out of here and despawn all this stuff. Then we'll go get our villagers. I'll be right back, Bob. I think that's all the hard parts other than dealing with villagers. We should be able to just sneak some villagers in here real quick. Villagers are gonna come in here. How can I get them? Maybe we just get 2 villagers in here and we breed them real quick. Because I think the best bet here is actually gonna be to just boat them in. Because at first I thought, well, I'll just throw like a job block on this wall, and they'll just naturally want to go in. Let's see if that works. But I think with the zombie they're gonna be totally thrown off. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it's a party. Oh, well, we have our first free roaming villager. Ah. I gotta go up on that mountain. There must be a job block. I know that there is a village building that spawned up there, but every free villager just wants to run and climb up the side of this hill. It's so frustrating. All right, who's our first guard? All right, now's the time to place your wagers. Is he gonna want the job block / beds, or is he gonna be way too scared of that zombie? We're about to find out. Get in your home. Ah, no, come on. Come on, no. Oh, I didn't think of that. He can use the barrel. Yep, that does it. Oh, as soon as he steps in, he sees him though. Come on, it's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about Bob. Wait, actually, can I close these? Nope, I placed it the wrong way. That probably would have worked. Yeah, nothing wrong in here. Just a friendly neighborhood zombie. We think our best bet is going to be to just breed the 2. I think 3 is all you need. I put 5 beds in there, but every farm I've ever seen uses 3 villagers and 3 beds. So I'm guessing that there's either diminishing returns on extra beds, or there's only so many like scares per tick or something. I don't know the science behind iron farms, but there must be some reason that they all use 3 villagers and 3 beds. So I think we'll probably just settle for 3 villagers for now. Unless this is super efficient now for getting them in here, in which case, you know, we'll keep going. And if Bob suffocates on that dirt block, I'm gonna be really upset. I'm pretty sure it's one above his head though. Ah, yes, perfect. All right, we can't reach that block now. Need to not let that baby escape, but we need to break that dirt block and flip that trap door. I don't dare just go for it. I'm not that brave. Let's go through the back. That's probably the safest option. Or that's to go above the zombie's head. We've got 2 villagers. Oh, crap, the baby villager's gonna get killed. Well, we'll have to check back in, because that baby villager is almost definitely gonna get himself killed. I didn't even think of that, because he can fit between the planks. As long as he doesn't grow up when he's literally standing in that hole, should be okay. Now, access. Actually, maybe I should take a step back. That was total chaos for like 20 minutes there, but here's the iron farm. We did a little bit of like leaves and decorations. We mixed in some mossy, we mixed in some andesite, a little bit of polished, just in spots to kind of give it some texture. I did put some kind of preliminary string here, but we'll see. You never really know where vines are gonna grow. Sometimes they go a little crazy, but we'll check on that. We left this face blank because we're gonna build the gatehouse here, right? So we have to build this exact same thing again, but right here. Except for next time, I'm definitely gonna put the zombie and the villagers in first. And then this is kind of our general wall design. This will just repeat. I haven't determined exactly how I'm gonna do transitions. So the way that I'm handling this is a bottom slab, right? So the walkway on the walls is not spawnable because it's a bottom slab. And then anything that has like a top to it has buttons on it, which is kind of hard to see. So yeah, you see how there's a button on the full blocks? So everything around this tower has to be spawn proofed. So actually, I guess now that I think about it, now that I say that out loud, these don't technically need to be spawn proofed after that. It's a little more spiky than I was picturing the builds in this area, but I think I like the general aesthetic. It's going to kind of influence the rest of the town a little bit, but I still may do a little bit more bulky and a little less spiked for the actual buildings inside. This can just look like the intimidating gatehouse. Alright, villagers are in, zombies in. We're going to wait for that guy to grow up. And then for access to our iron, it's going to be a little bit annoying and tedious to get to. We'll probably put a wall on the inside here, and then we'll just do a ladder kind of going down below the farm. So this is ground level, so we need to dig out this block. That's just so I can know. And then this block, you can't put a ladder on a path block for some reason, so this will have to be dirt. And then again, this is inside the wall, so you won't be able to see it anyway. And then we'll throw a button there. So that's going to be path, or that's going to be spawn proofed. We'll go down a couple blocks, and then now we need to find, where's our hopper? Somewhere here, our hopper should be poking down through. Let me try to think. I think that the hoppers come down like 2 to the left. There it is, there's our hopper, okay. Should have been more careful about that probably, but this is where our iron's gonna come out. So we need some chests underneath that. And again, all of this kind of needs to be golem proofed. I'm assuming they need kind of a minimum spawn area, but I'm not really gonna take any chances. Stone bricks. So no golems spawned during our little event there. Probably because the villagers hadn't actually slept yet. There's a weird mechanic where the villagers had to claim a bed. But hopefully that's the only reason they didn't spawn. See if we can sneak into our own bed without attracting too much attention here. Probably should have lit the area around my little chest monster up a little bit more. I don't think I really talked about it, but this is kind of how I do my, this is the cob version of a chest monster. I usually try to build some kind of like lean-to. You kind of saw in the woodcolor village I did like a little treehouse base with my chests. I mean, it's still effectively just a bunch of chests slapped on the ground, but something about putting a little bit of fence around it, a little bed. This was going to be an infinite water source, but I couldn't remember if you could do it with the 4 stairs, and I forgot to get a second bucket of water and a bunch of stuff. A little pole for our horse, but it just gives, like, while you're building, to have like a kind of a quote-unquote little home base, and you know, for pretty much no effort to throw this thing together, right? It just kind of gives you a little bit of something to your world. I also just noticed I filmed this entire segment without shaders on, but that was really discerning for people. Oh no, we may have to, I don't know, should we refilm it or do we leave it in? It'll be a fun little thing that happened in episode 12. I don't know how long it takes a villager to grow up, but I'm patiently waiting because I want to make sure this farm is actually going to do something. Well, I don't think that villager ever grew up, and if he did, he either grew up and suffocated in one of those slabs, or the zombie got him. So we ran over and grabbed another villager. Actually, the little baby that had escaped and had run up the hill, he grew up, and we brought him in here, and now he's the 3rd guard for this tower. Farm's fully functional. You can see I had to do a little manipulation to the terrain here. I need to drop my little iron storage system down 1 block underneath. But to access it, I think I showed this already if I didn't, you just drop down this little hole in the walls, and then I started kind of texturing the walls. I need to get rid of this dirt, and I'm gonna probably put like supports and stuff like that, kind of like an underground tunnel between the guard towers. But for now, I just wanted some clean walls at least. But yeah, I actually took out like a stack of iron blocks already because I needed to get some hoppers and some other stuff for the other tower and a bunch of lanterns. But yeah, totally works. That was probably, I don't know, an hour or 2 AFK while I ate dinner, so that's pretty good. So now we just need to build this tower again, but mirrored, and then we'll probably leave like a 7 block gap, I think. That's about the width of this path, I think, right? The other tower will probably come to like right here, and then, yeah, we'll build some kind of fancy gate at some point that connects the 2 towers. And I don't really have an idea of what that looks like yet, so for now, it'll just be an open mining colony with no restriction, but it'll have very active guards who never sleep. Originally I was going to close up these glass panes just so it looked like a normal guard tower, but I kind of like that you can kind of see the villagers running around in there. And you know, if you're guarding a colony, it's good to be able to see people as they approach. And you got Bob back there making sure no one's sleeping on the job. Alright, let's build this other tower, and I'll check back in. And there it is, the iron gate. It definitely still needs some touching up, and we have to build the actual gate itself, as well as, I didn't really consider it, but there's no way to get on top of the gate, so we may just go for like ladders on the backside or something, but probably should have made a way to pass through from the wall. There is actually room in the top of this. The iron golem spawns like right above this wall. This is like, these 2 blocks are flat because that's his spot. So maybe we'll put like a little climb up and pass through. Could be interesting to get from gate to gate. Otherwise you gotta climb off the wall, go over and climb up, but that's okay. But yeah, pretty happy with how these turned out. This is like one of the first builds I've ever designed so far ahead in creative, and I think it actually worked out pretty well. I was mostly just nervous that the actual iron farm itself wouldn't function, and if I was gonna put this much time into building these and making them look cool and integrating them into like the walls of the city, I wanted to make sure that it was actually gonna generate iron. And the good news is, they do. They both work pretty efficiently. I haven't seen any iron golems spawn since I fixed the last couple spawn-proofed blocks. We're gonna have to go through here probably and put some stone and some buttons, maybe some moss carpets to get the grass spread a little bit more. But for now, path blocks are just the most efficient way to kind of spawn-proof this whole area for golems. But we'll come up with more creative solutions in the future. I also wonder if things like string work could be interesting. In areas that we're not gonna be in a lot or doing a lot, that might be an effective method, but I gotta look up some spawn proofing techniques. But yeah, pretty cool little build. Again, I want to extend the landscape out. I don't love how steep you walk up to this, so we'll probably pull this layer below the layer the gates are on out at least like 4 or 5 blocks, and then kind of again and again for these. And then I think ground level is going to be this tier right here. So we'll raise up this whole area probably out to our little lean-to there. We'll raise this whole area up to match this level. And of course, like I said, these steps will be way further out so that when you're approaching the gate, you're kind of at more of a level ground with it. It's kind of cool to be like ominous and above you as you walk up, but I think it's just a little too steep and you don't get a great effect, especially once the gate's here. I think we want to be able to stand here and kind of take it in, whereas now we're kind of looking up at it, which I don't love. So let's go see how this thing's producing. Both of them are active now, obviously. I've brought the dirt blocks that I was blocking the zombie with earlier. I didn't bother to get 2 more villagers in here because it was such a hassle after it was built. But it turns out getting the villager and the zombies in here when the roof was still not on was definitely the right move. This side was so much easier. For some reason our zombie turned into a drowned. Why is that? Why is there an iron bar there? That's a little concerning. Let me go look. Hopefully, no, because there's... Unless somehow a golem could spawn and suffocate? I don't know, maybe that's been in there from way earlier and the items never despawned. You would have thought by now the item would have despawned. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, he turned into a drowned, and that's the dirt block I broke above his head. As you can see, he's still holding it. But we dropped him through the ceiling and it was so much smoother. Definitely recommend that if you're gonna try to replicate these in any way. Get your villagers in before you build up the actual upstairs part. Yeah, there's a chance that you could get an iron golem to spawn if you don't block him with some dirt blocks or kind of hide the villagers a little bit. But this was such a pain. I might try to throw these guys some carrots over time and just see if we can get 2 more. But I really think 3 is the right number anyway. Like I was saying earlier, I've never really seen an iron farm that uses more than 3 villagers to 1 zombie. So there must be some kind of science behind that. Down below isn't really decorated yet, but I did kind of clean up all the walls and put some nice stone walls around it so it looks like it's, you know, complete-ish. I definitely want to put like supports in the walls, and you know, this will probably be more brick and less flat stone. But for now, it's just kind of an efficient way to grab our stuff. We got a bed down here for when we AFK, we can sleep before we go back up to the surface. This one, obviously we built just more recently, so we haven't AFK'd very long in it, but even still, we've already up to, what, 4 stacks in there? And then this one obviously has been going the whole time we've been building, so we've got a decent amount in there. And that's after I took out a decent chunk. I think I took like a stack of iron blocks. Yeah, over a stack of iron blocks I took out of there already, so we should be good for iron. And we're gonna be building in this mining colony for a while, so the benefit to having it built right into the gatehouse like this is as we're kind of building up the colony, this thing will just be always pumping out iron. Which is why I'm thinking, I don't know what our, like, the theme of our next building will be, but I think it's gonna house either a melon or a pumpkin farm, or kind of, you know, a little B. I think you can do both in the same farm. So we'll need something that is relatively square. I don't know if you've ever seen a melon farm. Actually, one second. We can run over to, I actually built a rudimentary one in Greg's basement, and I don't think I ever even showed it, but I kind of wanted to start working on villager trades just to get, you know, an idea of the farm I wanted to build. But let's go take a look at that and kind of show you what it looks like. It's been a while since we've been and visited Greg, so he'll be happy to see us, I bet. Hopefully he's been feeding Scruffy. How you doing, Scruffy? Give him a little pet. Yeah. You been feeding him? You better. Like I said, we named him. He's here to stay, Greg. So yeah, down here is kind of our rudimentary melon farms. This is what they look like. All it is you have an observer that kind of looks at the stalk, and then you have pistons that go around it. Anytime a melon grows, for whatever reason, this stem has some kind of appearance change that the observer picks up, and it just activates all 4 pistons every time. So anytime a single melon grows, all of the pistons activate and knock stuff down. I built this one completely off of memory, and I mostly was just making sure I even remembered how to do it, so it's not super efficient. You can actually build these stalks like this. See how these two are right next to each other? Like, you only need to have the 4 squares to the sides of each plant growable, so you can actually make these just go diagonal all the way across. So this footprint is huge for the amount of plants we have in it, but you get the idea. It's just a big square, and then underneath it, you just kind of have a hopper minecart picking up them as they break. I would want at least 2 or 3 levels, probably 3 levels of this farm in terms of like making enough melons to be worth it, because obviously we haven't been here very much, but this just doesn't make that many melons. Slash if it was doing pumpkins. So we'll either make the building, obviously it'll be a very square building to fit this on the inside of it, because I want it to be at least probably as wide as this one is, so I don't know if that's like 7 blocks wide. So we'll probably want to be able to walk all the way around it, so you add 2 blocks on either side of it, and then probably another block on either side of that, so that you have like, you know, detailing room on the outside of the building. All of a sudden it's an 11 block wide square building. I haven't decided what that building's going to be yet, but I think it is going to house one of these, and if we need to make more layers, we'll kind of just cheat and go down into the ground below the building, but we'll probably make a reasonably sizable building for it. You'll have to tune in next episode though, because I don't even know what that's going to look like yet, so I certainly can't give you any hints now. Anyway, let's head back over to the Iron Gate. Yeah, I'll be back eventually, Greg, don't worry. Your room is like, it's on the list. It's not next on our list, but it's on our list, don't worry. A nice sunset view right up of the gate. It's gonna look so good. When we get these walls built around the place, it's really gonna tie this gatehouse in. And the walls are all gonna be kind of this thinner thing, so the gatehouse should really stand out as like, this is the entrance to the city kind of thing. It's always intimidating when you're starting a new area like this and you really have no foot what this colony is gonna look like, and it's got me super excited for next episode. When we build our first building inside the walls, we'll also probably just kind of work on wall segments as we go. Like maybe next episode I'll try to get this wall to the cliff there and get this one kind of to this L. And then, you know, over the next couple episodes we'll finish the walls off. Or maybe, you know, I'll get ambitious and we'll just knock it out real quick during one time lapse, but it's a little bit tedious building repetitive sections like this. I mean, yeah, we'll go back after the fact and mix in some more of this like andesite and mossy, but you're still just building the same thing over and over and over and over again. So it gets a little repetitive, but I think it's gonna really lock this place in as a tight-knit colony. Once the walls are done, you'll feel like you're inside of it, if that makes sense. So next episode, we build some kind of melon farm. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe we build, I don't want to overpromise, but I do want to convert this into some kind of like prison jail cell holding area for the town. I left this going the whole time I was building the gatehouses, and it got a little bit out of hand. There's a lot of villagers in here. I actually went in and blocked off the baby zombie drop, the baby villager drop, because I don't want to get so many villagers in here that we're starting to lag out the area. We're going to need quite a few villagers to fill this colony. There's going to be buildings. I want this whole thing, I think I mentioned this before, to be completely packed with buildings. So we'll build this next building probably right off the path. We'll make the path through the town probably 5 blocks wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like, stupid horse, come on. Like that wide. But then other than that, it's going to be a building here and a building here, and it's going to be very tight and cramped as you go through this colony. So we're going to need a lot of villagers if we're going to stock some of those buildings with people. Obviously, like the melon farm probably won't have a villager. Maybe we'll put like a farmer up front in a tiny stand or something selling melons, but for the most part, I want to put villagers in all of the buildings in the town, at least the ones that it makes sense. I am going to keep the windows in, I think. I just love the idea of being able to like peek in and check on the villagers, I guess. It doesn't really fit the theming, I don't think, but if they're guarding, you know, they're like the watchers, and Bob's in there keeping them on point. Make sure no one's sleeping on the job. I like it. All right, that's all we have time for this episode. You made it this far. I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. You can't pet your horse. Who knew?